best TvZ player right now. But, as always, that's just up for debate, so I'll let you guys debate on that, as we do have in the top right side to kickstart our quarter-final matchup. The red Zerg player from Onside Gaming, Solar. And in the bottom left corner of the map from the Shopify Rebellion, our blue Terran player, this is ByuN. If Dark wins this tournament, he would pass $1 million in prize earnings. Damn, that's actually pretty cool. In a WardiTV tournament. And you guys say these tournaments don't add up. Yeah. Alright, barracks are on the low ground here, out of ByuNy boy, so let's see what he gets up to as we drop the couple on the low ground instantly. Just going to be seeing an Overlord moving out, hatch gas, and very soon a spawning pool I'm sure will be on the way from Solar. Ancient System, ByuN loves playing the Reapers on this map. It's typically a good Zerg map, right? So if you can get in there with something that throws the Zerg off early and stops them playing their game, which is exactly what the Reapers will do, then brilliant, right? 10 out of 10, you take that. I think that's going to be the case here. So you actually see a third Rax as well, so ByuN not going to kind of have any chill in this game. This is going to be an all-out offense of Reapers. And we'll see if that's going to be enough to send ByuN into a solid start of this series. Obviously, this is the Zerg's map pick, so if you can win game one, you're already going to be feeling it a little bit. Then you kind of put in the onus on the Zerg to really respond on your own map pick, for example. Otherwise, they're down 0-2, and then it just gets tougher and tougher from there as well. Kai Britt, my man, how you doing? 3-year resub. Thank you so much. The 3 years of resubscribing. 36, so happy to be here. Hell yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate the 3 years of resub and mate. That's freaking awesome. Thank you for being a legend all this time. Like I say, I really do appreciate it. First Reaper starts to ping away a little bit, so just getting a little bit of damage done to start us out. And this is, of course, where the Reapers want to get something. Nothing just yet, though. So, first Reaper doesn't succeed. Of course, with 3 Rax Reaper, you absolutely want to guarantee there's no third hatchery coming down. That should never be able to get up in this kind of scenario. So, that's 100% something you want to make sure you do with the 3 Rax Reaper. As you will see that Queen getting bopped a little bit. The other couple of Reapers coming back through. Another grenade, and the Queens have to back it up once again. Still just seeing our ling speed, the few extra lings, etc. coming out. Solar is also just going to have to, he really has to at some point try and fight these Reapers. He gets one. That's nice. Any Reaper you kill is going to make your life that much easier than it would have been otherwise. So, big step in the right direction as our Reapers try to come back in on the natural. Austin with the raid. Welcome, everybody. And thank you so much, Nasfeles, for the 33-month resub on the Prime. Blut Milan for the 7-month resub. Thank you so much, guys. Also, before I missed, Acquisition Octopus on the 25-month resub on the Prime during that previous series. Thank you so much for the support today, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you, Harston, for the raid. And welcome. This is ByuN Solar, quarterfinals of the WardiTV Spring Championship. As we get this one underway. Two Marines is going to nibble at that Overlord, which gets pushed over to a bit of high ground. So it's just going to get chased over there. 3 more Reapers are still in production. That barracks has a gap between the other barracks, so it's something to just watch for just in case there's a counterattack. For the moment, the Reapers are taking a couple of moments to just hold back and to wait out a little bit. ByuN sad about whatever Solar says here. Which we do not know, but that's okay. I'll just stare at him and pretend I can read Korean for a second and remember I can't. As you have our Overlord still hanging out overhead, then there is a Ling moving around, cruising around here and there as well, just again keeping a heads up as to what's happening. And all these Reapers, they did delay the third hatch, but they're not going to put themselves at risk. We're still building Reapers. There's a lot of Reapers haven't been built here. It's obviously becoming more and more intriguing. As ENM7 on the 10 gifted subs. Thank you so much. I will read those out in a little bit properly. Apparently we're going to start a hype train as well. You guys excited for some Spring Championship playoffs? It seems like it. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted subs. Let's get that hype train going then, guys. Let's get the scam train choo-chooing. As we do have Queens still out the front. Reapers, Medivacs continuing to buid on into play here from ByuN as well. It's going to be seeing the CC coming out over on the edge. A couple medevacs, the Reapers all coming through, the SCVs and the Mules getting active on this mineral line. And here go the Reapers, all of them. Full chunk of them going to head across the map, so away we go. Reapageddon is a go-go. Extra lib still coming up, the land, the Bane Nest building on the side of Solar as well. More drones and lings and etc. All just continuing to produce. As we do come by, already going to grab one creep Jimmy here straight away. Like I say, I mean, the medevac show up as well. I remember seeing ByuN do this against the laser in... I don't remember what tournament it was, but I kind of saw it happening like on the side, so it must have been something that had multiple streams. As you do see lings coming through there, the Reapers are going to be forced to jump on back into those medevacs. I guess it was in Sweden, in Jönköping. ByuN was kind of with the medevacs and the Reapers and playing around with those there. He's going to try and take on these Queens. Obviously, Queens do have transfusions, but the Reapers, they want the hatchery. That can't be transfused while it's building. So he's going to get that cancel. And he's going to back away, and of course now if the links around, boom, the medevac can lift up and escape, although we only have one medevac left, so only so many Reapers can get away. 8, in fact, that's the number. So yeah, quick grenades to actually buy time and keep a couple more Reapers than 8 alive over in the corner for a few extra moments. Tense couple moments as ByuN does feel as though he gets himself out of trouble in the end. And so just see now melee upgrades coming up, Baneling speed still being brought into play as well. All of that coming through as our Reapers hop back down and go towards the center of the map once again for the next little while. Going forwards here, getting a couple of creep tumors, picking those off nice and quickly as our lings once more going to try to get a little grab on the Reapers here. Another scan, a couple more creep tumors continuing to go down as well, and just going to be having ourselves the Liberator sieging up in the main base. Gonna get rid of 3, 4 more drones. The Banelings, yeah, they're gonna kill a couple of Reapers that were kind of abandoned anyways. The others get into the medevac without too many issues. Like I say though, 5 drones going down, ByuN finding a little more damage. I'm just wondering if Solo's already to the point where he doesn't really care. He's already just in a very comfortable position, so this sort of damage is not necessarily gonna have the biggest impact on him. You know, he's already up at 78 drones, which is obviously a very comfortable number. This is not damage being taken super early in this game or anything, so like I say, that's why I'm just kind of wondering a little bit as to how things might overall turn out. How bothered, like I said, you know, again, how bothered Solar is. The creep spread's obviously pretty delayed because, well, ByuN's been playing these Reapers the entire time and harassing. Makes it difficult to really get that creep up and running. First Widowmine shot's decent, second one kills off a Queen, which could have been worse. You don't guarantee to get the Queen in that scenario, right? So the Queen being low enough for the Widowmine to finish it off is obviously a pretty big deal, so that is a nice catch. Reapers are still trying to harass in their medevac as well. They've been up and down into the main base, trying to find a little bit of trouble. They're being kept out of it, though. Solar's defense is pretty respectable, not allowing ByuN to really pierce too many holes in his armor. We maybe have a moment or two. Thank you so much, Zero Ammo, on the 30-month resub, by the way. Thank you so much. Big resub. Thank you so much indeed. And there was also another resub coming through as we did indeed start the hype train with Crankon on the 4-month resub on the Prime, saying thanks for all the great content. Thank you so much for the generosity and the kind words and just tuning in general. I really appreciate it. Marines going after a few more drones now. ByuN's micro and control and just kind of the ability to be busy everywhere is starting to show here. Banelings show up. We lift up these Marines. We're in the bottom right-hand corner as well. Marines moving forward on this bottom right side also. Those few Queens begin to come through, and Queens will be there to kind of push things back that little bit. So, gonna go pushing, tugging, being aggressive as we do have ourselves the Lings running through in the center of the map. It looks as though ByuN is going to be pretty okay for the moment. His reinforcements might go down, but so far so good as medevacs will collect themselves together to the top side once again. And yo, Zergiel with the 10 gifted subs, too. I will read out all the gifted subs after the series, guys. As well as Baby Back Biscuits on the Prime. Thank you so much, guys, for the generosity. Hype training it up for reals today, apparently. Hype trains like we've never seen before. As Marines stem into the low ground here. Creep Tumor advancing forwards just a little bit. Again, the one thing ByuN has done is just to delay and to hold back the creep as best as possible. And that really does have such a positive impact for him, typically. And It's definitely one of the better things he's had going on this game throughout. It's allowed him to just push up wherever he wants to be and to keep on trading. Solar, though, is making his step towards lurkers. He talked about this at Home Story Cup. Once he gets to those lurkers, boom! He feels so much safer. He feels so much better. And he feels like then it doesn't matter what kind of happened before, that point. He can just do so much better in the game. So he's just trying to survive. He's just trying to reach that tech where he feels the most comfortable in the game. At the moment, ByuN is not doing anything about the fact that lurker tech is on the way out as well. No Ghost Academy or anything as our Link Bane Hydra comes across. Just going to be seeing the few Marines going to have to lift up here. There is this hatchery which will go flying over through the with these medevacs. Like I say, we are not far from seeing the hive tech really coming to fruition. With the lurker upgrades now able to start, with the adrenal glands already getting going as well. So about this already getting up, there's one super low HP medevac there that does house quite a few units. That's likely a target in the near future. Have to try and babysit that one and hopefully not let it get too out of control or anything, right? Hopefully we can get it out, a few units out of it at the very least. Mines power up, our Ling Bane starts to run through. But Widowmine shots trying to line up, it will not get anywhere. A few Marauders now going to come out to the front. Gonna see this Bio coming forward again. The Ling Bane Hydra coming through once more. Trying to see a little bit of what else can be done as our medevacs do get a first kill in the top left though, so that's going to be a pretty big deal. Just going to grab that. Ghost Academy is now on the way as well. It's just going to continue through with this for a little while longer. Alright, well, the game does have a few moments to settle down. We still obviously have a couple units here and there on the map, and bits and pieces just spread around as we come through. Bio gonna come pushing up. A couple creep tumors already beginning to drop, so like I say, some good bits of damage being done. I mean, again, nothing else. ByuN is making sure that this map is kept pretty constrained if nothing, nothing else happens here. A few of these banelings going down, a few changelings dropping in as well. A couple extra banes still trying to roll on through. It's going to be seeing our lurker upgrades continuing in, the +3 melee upgrade, carapace, etc. All of this just continues to produce, all of this being brought up for now. And Solar really is reaching this late game. Nidus Network as well, we know how deadly that can be if it goes unchecked, if it isn't dealt with properly, so another real threat on the map as Bio continues around here and there for the moment. It's going to be seeing this orbital command lifting off, and the Banes are actually going to get right towards those ghosts, which do just about manage to get away into the medevacs. The medevacs saving the day there a little bit. A few more Banes going down, the Hydralisk dropping as well. And this is the big part for ByuN. He gets attacked, but he does get a few units at least on the chase. ByuN's army supply is still competitive. I am worried a little bit though. Solar has an upgrade lead and just in general is looking very, very good. Now Ghosts, Bio still moving up into the center. +3 melee coming out, the Burrow as well continues to produce. We do have a couple of these Lings heading forward. The Viper overhead, trying to see just where it can go, what it can do. Nidus Network is producing in that main base. If you can keep ByuN busy, you can absolutely strike and strike hard here. And that's a little bit of Ling Bane trying to get a bit of a wrap around. And on top of this base, ByuN, I think in the end is just succumbing to, again, the power of a Solar who just survives and survives, and especially with the map helps him to survive. And now when he gets to this hive tech, he is just such a terrifying player to go up against. Like, it's kind of ridiculous just how good he turns out to be in these scenarios. And he didn't even necessarily really get up to lurkers, right? Like, he got the lurk attack online, but just starts to do very well at this stage anyways. ByuN kind of just running out of steam. He threw this, that, and everything that he really could at Solar and just never really got there. There's a few more snipes coming through. The Banes and Lings are running forwards. There's a lot of snipes, to be fair. I mean, maybe ByuN is not fully done just yet, but another Knight is coming up behind one of his bases at the moment as well. We're still just seeing the rest of this bio continue to cruise around here, there, and everywhere here on Ancient System. Map 1 of this best of 5 quarterfinal. Solar does look as though he's really taking advantage of it. This Knight just didn't do much. Things are going to try and run in there. Maybe not going to get very far just yet. Couple more snipes go down. Solar still gathers middle of the map. As our few Lings are going to continue to produce on through. Plus 2 missile upgrade is still being built as well. Solar's improving the height, improving the potential future lurkers. At this stage, ByuN doesn't really have an option as to how he plays. He pretty much just has to defend. Like, you know, there's just not really a choice. And the Fungal's going to land on the first set of Ghosts is amazing because you're not going to really keep or maintain a lot of units alive here. So it looks as though it's actually going to be good for Solar to just bust through, and that is going to be good for game number 1. That's going to do it. Solar takes the opening map of this series. In the top left-hand side, we will start with the player then that has got themselves the 1-0 lead in the best of 5. It is going to be Solar. Against the Red Terran in the bottom right-hand corner from the Shopify Rebellion, ByuN. Alright, so, game number 2, and we're proxying. Straight across the map, not messing around here. As proxy gets fully operational straight away. Two barracks coming straight on in. And this is with a gas now taken. Is there a world where this is actually just going to be a Reaper proxy? That is something that ByuN sometimes brings out. The thing is, Solar's already gone for the, not just pool, but the gas pool opening. So he is going to have probably the most defendable position he could get right away here. So the question mark, as ByuN is building his first Reapers. So he gets to the front and you get over here nice and quickly. Two barracks, asks Solar as the Reapers show up, and he says, haha. Figuring out what this is, realizing a little bit of what's going on. Couple Reapers just knocking that Queen around. A couple Reapers continue to take some hits. Queen continues to put that damage into the Reapers and getting a lot done there. The Lings continue to chase another grenade, and the Queen still just taking that little bit of damage. Very close to going down. Obviously, Link speed's going to be nice and quick because of the opening of Solar. It's going to limit the amount of time ByuN really has to capitalize on this proxy, and that is scary because obviously with it being proxy, the barracks is that much more exposed. The barracks are going to have to fly home at some point, and that's going to be bad. He's going to lose control of the Reapers in the top right, so he loses this one Reaper that could have been saved, honestly. That did not necessarily need to go down there. There's the Link speed. ByuN honestly did very well up until this point. If he didn't lose that one Reaper especially, that would have been really kind of, you know, pretty sick, all said and done. Oh, and now he loses the Reapers because they get surrounded. Well, that was kind of inevitable. And like I said, now the barracks have to fly home. We do have a factory at home with a Hellion out. One Reaper hops the main base, trying to be a bit of a distraction. Maybe even buy time from these Lings being able to get to the other side. The CC of ByuN is only just now starting, so for all of the worker lead he has, it's going to disappear very quickly when the Zerg production kicks in with that round of drones, and just in general from there, things are going to get, yeah, kind of nasty for ByuN very quickly. Solar is going to be in a pretty awesome spot in the very near future. Lanchan, thank you so much for the 30-month resub on the Prime. The only good thing for ByuN is everything's on the high ground, so Solar can't punish anything low ground here, but there's nothing right now stopping Solar from just holding down the drone key, taking his third hatchery, and just steamrolling ahead in this game, and putting himself into, honestly, a position which I don't really necessarily think we're going to recover from very easily at all from ByuN. Like, this was a commitment. It didn't really do enough at all, and now I actually think he's going to start seeing the repercussions of his choices. And that might mean that we've got Solar on the verge of a 2-0 lead in this series. Very possible, very plausible in the next few moments. Roach finishing from Solar, who just has a ton of money. He knows ByuN's setup is bad. So actually a Roach run, just a Roach all in, might just finish this off before we even get going on the recovery. Before we can even think about getting started there. Moves up into the natural. A couple of Hellions going to come through, lays it down. One of those Zerglings already, so just going to pick that off. Single Viking coming through. The Banshee and the upgrades continue. So actually going to go Cloak and +1 attack. I mean, the Banshee is good because it should help you against these Roaches. Solar making a few, and then it's already going back into drone, so you can apply some pressure. He might just win the game off that. If he doesn't, then he's got the drones behind it to ensure he's going to see at least a later point of this game with the economy continuing to flourish. I think Solar's just making a lot of good choices. Hard to criticize, as he put himself ahead with the initial defense. And now is only improving as our Hellions will come forwards. The Roaches start to take, again, a few shots of damage already. Stim coming up, Cloak and +1 on the way in. Banshee starts to deal some damage. First Roach is already taking some shots. It's going to take a lot of hits. First Roach going down immediately there. Now the next Roach already taking some shots as well. Lings come over. First Hellion's already going down, so he's going to pick away at those and just going to be seeing the Lings continue to come across. The Roaches and Ravages in the mineral line, like I said, the Banshee will get rid of them, but how much damage do we take from these units before the Banshee gets full cleanup? 7 workers going down. Honestly, could have been much worse. That said, of course, like I said, Solar started droning against this a long time ago, and that truly is the biggest issue of all here, right? Where Solar's economy is already up to 61 drones to 36 SCVs. The advantage earlier is still going to stick, and that's why it was so kind of unthreatening, I suppose, right? What was able to be done here by, you know, kind of, I guess not unthreatening, but like inconsequential almost, whether you made those Roaches or not, because even with building those Roaches, like, what he can do is just so much, and he was always kind of really safe to follow up. Now these Banshees are putting in some work. The Banshees obviously one way this game can perhaps continue on a little bit as we come back and forth a little. The Lings join up with a couple of Queens. And the Banshees are just kind of punishing the lack of lair. That's the only thing that's really been problematic here from Solar. Banshees coming back around the left-hand side, going to head in toward the main base. Combat shield, +1 armor, all coming up. The additional medevacs and marines will continue to produce. I mean, ByuN really does have to put in work with the Banshees. To be fair, what might happen is that Solar gets too greedy. He's on 67 drones. He's not built units for a little bit. This push of ByuN up the right-hand side, Solar's still replacing drones. He's losing to the Banshees. This has a little bit of potential. All these upgrades for the Roaches that aren't going to be in place straight away. The potential is absolutely there for ByuN to have an absolutely killer push-in. Tanks are going to start getting siege. The Roaches don't have speed. It's one of those moments where I think you just want to go a little bit slowly here, right? As Solar take this a little bit carefully. Spore taking a few shots of damage. Queen's taking some shots as well. Like I say, these Roaches are going to take a beating from the siege tanks. This is where ByuN really can find his damage. Taking the third CC behind this. He's not even all in on this. Just wants to sort of take as much of a lead as he can off of this. Banshees are back as well, getting even more drones. Gotta say, ByuN is really making it look like there's some hope for himself here. We're gonna run out of Marines very soon, but how much more can these tanks do before then? Well, pretty much every Roach is going down. A few extra Marines showing up. Maybe actually this tank doesn't go down as well. One corrosive bile will not kill that, so that tank survives, and chasing forward with these few Marines. Just again, the tank fight putting so much damage on these Roaches. Solar's supply is genuinely in a bad place. Now, finally, I think we're gonna run out of stuff. Finally, we're going to be pushed back here as ByuN, but he did so much. 58 to 54 workers. He now has to start building himself the armory as well, so he can start looking towards his 2-2. The Banshees obviously put so much damage on the field as well. And this was a game I was very happy to sign off on. You know, I was ready, you know, Solar could have had the point as far as I care as the tournament organizer, but oh, apparently this is why I've got to wait for the opponent to quit. Because ByuN just really finds a moment where Solar, again, had been too greedy. He had 70 drones going into this attack. ByuN finds a lot of those. The Banshees find an opening because Solar is kind of, you know, just a little bit hectically defending on the right-hand side. That's a big deal. No, just absolutely bonkers, guys. Absolutely bonkers, as we do have Marines and tanks setting up on the third base here. 2-2 upgrades still coming in, plus 1 vehicle weapons coming through. A station pit, Baneling Nest, all continues to produce from the moment, as well as just getting as much of that up as possible. As our tanks will get a couple more shots, another roach or so going down. Just going to be seeing our medevac around this left-hand side, going to try and drop into the main base. Oh, actually going to drop a little shy of the main base and maybe look to engage into the fourth. But there's units here. Obviously, he can still lift up and then drop into the main now. He sees that the defense is on the low ground, so that option is still available as well. Comes forward. Queen goes, Cryptium goes down. Queen will fall. This drone gonna get picked off as well as you continue to press forward. Medevac taking a few more shots. Roaches and Rav just trying to come down this ramp. We will see the Medevacs loading once again. I'm just gonna be seeing the Roach Ravager having to peel away over to the left-hand side for just a couple of moments. Then just dealing with that as we have ourselves the +2 carapace, the +1 melee, all of that getting established for just a little bit. Finishing off this set of rocks. Tanks will continue to siege. Creep teamers continue to get knocked on down. We have got ourselves a big stim of Marines. Big push. IO army is equal supply. +1 melee just got cancelled as the Evo Chamber dies to the drop in the background. Baneling speed not ready yet, so these Banes are going to be slow-mowing into these tanks. Tanks want to target fire those Banelings, get rid of some of that splash. Joseph Bow's doing a good job to get rid of some tanks. We might want to bring that backwards tank a little further forward. I really feel like that one could maybe get more in position now that some of the other tanks have gone down. Yeah, I do not know if these Banelings are ever going to get a chance to connect as ByuN. Winning this game is honestly kind of spectacular. He's not done it yet. Maybe I'm talking a little bit too soon. The tank in the back now is actually going to have a really big role to play against some of these additional roaches. Even as Solar cleans up, or sort of cleans up, you can still see the advantage that ByuN holds, right? He is still on a great position. 2-2 now finished. Solar's trying to scramble the Vipers, and if he can find the Vipers, maybe that is good enough of an opportunity for him to get things leveled out a little bit. The Vipers are going to really negate the power of the siege tanks, which has been one of the big things that ByuN has lent on. Of course, now Banelings have their speed as well, so they'll be a bit better than before, but there's not as many of them, and the creep is non-existent in front of this base, which is also only going to add to, you know, the extensive list of issues that Solar currently is seeming to have. It's not going to be enough. GG's. ByuN brings it back in this series and goes 1-1 after a ridiculous... In the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we're going to start with our red Zerg. From Onside Gaming, make some noise if you're cheering on Solar. Had that game ripped away from him. You know, I really said at one point I felt like the Roaches were kind of inconsequential as a choice. Obviously, in the end, maybe it didn't quite feel like that or work out like that, but I still don't mind that he did it, because it did feel like a pretty reasonable decision to make at that point. I think in theory it was still okay, it's just obviously in practice it didn't actually pan out like that, so... yeah, kind of a ridiculous game number 2. ByuN finding his opening, finding his one opportunity to kind of bring it back, and he really made the most of it. Those tanks got so much damage done. Heading into the third map now. See if ByuN can continue to do well. As in terms of our bracket, we have quite a few Zergs represented, actually already in the round of 8, right? A lot of Zergs won their groups, including Dark. Yeah, Dark and Solar both won their groups. Scott's the only other Zerg in the tournament then, so... yeah, ByuN knocking Solar out would knock the only Zerg on this bottom half of the bracket out straight away. Maybe we do want to see some A tale of success then from Solar. Keeps some Zerg hopes alive into the semis. Although, I mean, Dog has Gumiho and Max Packs in his round of 8. I didn't guarantee, but Dog's been looking good lately, especially against Max Packs, so... Yeah, bracket's just genuinely very fun. I think the bracket is absolutely awesome. Scarlet Spirit later today, that's a fun match that you don't see very often either. Hero Marine Hearthstone coming up as well, whenever that plays Cure. Yeah, honestly, you name any section of this bracket, it's stacked, it's fun, the matchups look great. Should be fairly minimal amounts of mirror matchups as well, which is awesome, because that happened in our last tournament, right, where we like had a really sick set of players for the playoffs, and it was like, 55-60% of the matches were suddenly mirrored matchups. It was like, no, not like this. It was like, it was so sick, and then everyone gets PvP'd and TvT'd. I was like, ah. I thought I was going to have an absolute field day on the YouTube VODs of that one, but didn't quite turn out to be the case. That's okay. Sometimes it be like that, guys. Sometimes it do be like that. Oh, ByuN is already getting extra racks up in his base over here, so again, that's ready to rumble. I feel like I lost my observer for a moment, so while I'm looking at some stats into the bracket and talking, thinking the game's being observed, I was absolutely incorrect, and you guys probably just been staring at those barracks for a while, so I do apologize. But I don't think we actually missed anything, not really anything going on at all. There's a couple of Marines. Coming through. Obviously, this is, again, bypassing the Reaper, kind of getting straight into Marines, so you have as many Marines as possible, knowing that those are likely going to be, you know, big power, kind of power point here from ByuN, one of the real focuses for him in these early stages. Carapace upgrade is going to be starting out. So again, that Carapace is on the way as well, but just a few moments. Impact +1 also being brought in, as again just a few more Marines continue to pop, continue to get into place for these early stages. Factory gets the reactor going, ready in for the starport, and just the single engineering base, so single +1 upgrades could continue to lead into quite some aggression. We'll see if ByuN wants to continue into 5 racks or 3 CC off of this. I think the +1 is more so just about being ready for this initial stim push, which is not usually the norm. It's actually going to make this kind of 2-on-1-esque build that much more powerful with that engineering base. It's actually very cool. You never really see this, right? Very intriguing. There's a couple of links continue to nibble at this set of rocks. It's going to be seeing our drones continuing out, our Carapace upgrade still coming in. Tech lab building on the barracks, and just going to be having ourselves the +1 attack upgrade is setting out, as well as just heading out over here. Our Marines in the middle of the map. 18 more links coming through. Link speed, Carapace upgrade, all continuing to produce. Again, all of this on the way in for the moment as we have our starport switching on over. ByuN attacks moves forward. There's plenty of lings on the way. The Carapace upgrade being done, obviously it's very nice for Solar as well. We'll keep him very safe in this scenario. Keeps you just in a very good spot. As those few queens get set up as well, just making sure these Marines can't do too much, but in we dive. First queen goes down pretty quickly. Second queen actually. I thought a couple of creep skimmers might go down, but we focus on the queens, and that's absolutely fine. Killing the queens obviously limits some of the other things that could potentially happen down the line. Lings is going to go onto this set of rocks, trying to open up this area, open up this space that little bit as well. Just the ZRS Lings coming through. Marines load back up into the medevacs just for a couple moments. A couple of tanks will try and siege. Puts the Marines behind this first tank, which really just limits the area of the Marines that's available, and that allows the Marines to last that much longer. Both tanks go down, however, which is obviously still far from ideal. Well, Medevac is going to go boosting away, going to be able to unload over in this natural expansion. Tank unloads as well. The SCVs are going to turn around and jump onto said siege tank to bring it back up to HP. The starport still coming through, the reactor on the way. A couple of additional racks are building. These SCVs are going to turn back around into the natural as well as they got pulled. I think that was just a misclick from ByuN. He does not have a third base, guys. He adds on the extra barracks. He is going to commit to 2 bases here, which means that he's going to have to find some... Yeah, he's going to have to find himself a good chance, a good setup to really be able to well, push across the map and end this game. He wants to make sure Solar doesn't get too far ahead. Make sure Solar doesn't start running away with this or anything. These are definitely things he's going to have to take a little bit of a look towards, keep his mind open about for a little while. Medevac's load up, another few tanks will unsiege. Pushing forward just that little bit further. Again, plenty of Lings, plenty of Banes, but that's a DC. This Korean server's been doing this to us recently. Oh, yay. Alright, guys, hopefully they will just come out and we can resume from the replay. Obviously, I wouldn't request this usually, but this is kind of a WardiTV tournament. Whoa!
Game paused.
We came back. Alright. We're gonna resume. We skipped forward a little bit, guys. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but apparently we're back. As our Marines will come forward, a couple creep teamers going down. ByuN got into position, so... yeah, like I say, I'm not sure exactly how this all went down, but he got into position. We're still in the game, and we get to resume. Marines are trying to deflect a little bit of a Ling Bane counterattack on the other side. Still just seeing our Lings coming forward. The Marines are going to load up into these medevacs. Queens are going to continue taking a bit of a beating right now. Here we go with this army engaging on in. The Marines on the back side are actually going to do a lot. The forward units are maybe not going to be too hot, though, for ByuN. He is now really kind of relying on the units that show up late to this fight to really help benefit him, to really help pushing him through. Marines just hop up to the high ground here, going to get rid of another Ling. A couple of these Queens still in trouble. He's going to chase on forwards. First Queen already dropping. Lings on the left-hand side will come forward as well. The Banes wanting to try and make reach of this right now, as we do have, honestly, tank fire pretty good on the Banelings. There's one last Baneling here. We do not find the target fire. We lift up against it. Instead, we're going to drop them closer to our siege tank. It's now just a wall of Queens here from Solar. And I was just going to be seeing these Queens getting pushed back up this ramp for a couple of extra moments. They're going to be held off here, and extra Lings showing up. We do not have time to morph Banelings. That's Solar's current issue. He doesn't seem to find the time to do that, so that means that he's not going to have any splash. It's purely these Lings trying to save the day. And I'm not convinced that that's necessarily going to be able to happen. I'm not convinced that's going to be anywhere near enough. And these Marines do get rid of a hatchery. Solar still has a little bit of a worker lead, but now he's not going to necessarily have anywhere to send those workers. He does have other bases for the moment, I guess, so we'll hold tight and see. The couple libs helping to support this position. ByuN full on 2 base all in. If he gets cleaned up one time and loses everything, that's it. Game is done. He does not have enough reinforcements to kind of justify a full rebuild. Lings get on top of the siege tanks. ByuN kiting backwards. He still has an army supply lead, but this is maybe not as pretty as it once was. I think that's a Liberator top right that's going to show up to stop the mining in this base. That's going to keep Solar from finding some of the economy over there that he was maybe hoping to get on top of. So yeah, good for ByuN to deny that, because that should make his life a little bit easier continuing through then for the moment. His own third CC starts as he realizes he might be able to do enough damage to kind of take a very late base, but he might just not quite have the way to end the game. So just alleviate some of the pressure where you might be forced usually to kind of like, you're ahead, but then you just have to take a terrible fight because there's no other way to end the game. The third CC means that that situation doesn't ever arise. Generally, ByuN doesn't really want to rely on the third CC. It's more of just like a safety net, just in case he can't quite get this game to come to a close with one big push. Marines go to the high ground. That's going to bring some of the Banes just in range of the siege tank too. We're actually going to unload back into this natural. Those Banelings just go down as they kind of wander nearby. The Marines not quite in range. Now these Overlords going down. ByuN realizes there's a lot of opportunity on killing those. Did you see the units showing up on the other side as well, though? So ByuN's going to be distracted. The last banelings do get targeted down. This siege tank, is it going to be saved? No, it will go down, but the Marines all over are doing pretty well. We are playing against the +2 carapace, though, so the Lings are a bit tankier. ByuN Supply is leading by about 30 army as well, especially. He's going to back it up, probably take a round of reinforcements, and then try and go again. Belibber has actually decided to go out to the bottom side and maybe go try and harass. In the end, all those overlords that started to fall never were an issue for Solar, as he asks... he says something that ByuN finds funny. That's the laugh from ByuN, the laugh out loud, essentially, in Korean. As, I think Solar was actually complaining about Marines, if I read that correctly, but my Korean's not the best. Solar says it just doesn't make sense. Yep, well, yeah, that works too. Maybe not specifically about Marines, but close enough. As you counterattack here, a few units going down. Solar struggling as ByuN is finding his rhythm still. Still keeping position on this bottom side. I mean, it's getting a bit closer. I mean, ByuN trying to take the third base, but not really being allowed to mine from it comfortably with this Ling counterattack. Drops a couple mules there. That's big because obviously the fresh base to mine mules off of. The main and natural really getting to a point where dropping mules on them was almost not worthwhile. See, even just getting the mules on that location is a pretty big deal. We find a few banelings on this high ground. They finish morphing just in time. The medevac low doesn't get punished. My goodness, that could have been big. It already was big. If those few banes get cancelled and these Marines sit in the natural, then Solar really isn't kind of, you know, doing anything good. Exciting couple of moments there. And as Ling's counterattacking once more, ByuN, obviously the immediate issue as he takes this base is that Solar can constantly put pressure onto it. Oh, the Banes are going to find every SCV. He doesn't get there for the evacuation on the medevac. This is maybe starting to be enough as ByuN tries to rely on the CC. He drops the mule. It's burning. The mule's going to get targeted. It is going to fall down. The third is gone. Suddenly ByuN is completely committed off of two bases once more. That safety net has been ripped open, and ByuN's hopes and dreams are maybe falling out of it, as he is now going to have to pull back to the top left. Marines on the top right with a few medevacs. That drop trying to get going, but I think Solar has stabilized enough. Getting rid of the third is absolutely huge. That really, again, just takes away so much of the follow-up potential away from ByuN. Again, it absolutely guarantees that he is all in. So these are all very important things to note as we knock down a couple more creep tumors. +3 attack starts on the engineering bay. +2 armor continues to build. You see a few SCVs transferring over. We also do have our +3 again just starting up a little bit. +2 armor coming through. A couple of liberators getting sieged over on the edges, and just having ourselves still attempts from ByuN to just try and bring this back, to try and turn this around in whatever way he can. It's just not looking good for him. It's not looking as though it's going to happen. Now it really, honestly, killing the third really was just nailing the coffin, especially when ByuN had invested into it instead of maybe going all out with the attacks. Now you could see how it was going to work. It was just going to give ByuN that little bit of eco so he could kind of keep going in the game and be okay even if he wasn't quite finishing Solar off straight away. Now these Marines are going to have to load back into medevacs, pull back up through the center of the map. Infestation Pit is going to be finishing very soon, with a hatchery coming up as well for the moment. Fire Force is coming around. It's going to be seeing our Hydras coming up as well. Hive 2, obviously Solar really showing us that he is feeling extremely comfortable at the moment with where this game is heading. You know, again, the ability to actually tech up is not something he's really had a choice to do before now, because it's all been about survival. Now it's not so much about survival, now it's more so you can look toward the future a little bit. You can think about what's to come. And that's exactly what he's going to start setting up for now, so begins to proceed in that direction as ByuN still has a scary attack, right? Army supply is still good. One really bad fight here for Solar would be quite damning. He does launch a massive counterattack. A couple of tanks here not going to do much, but there is going to be some bio behind it as well. ByuN also moving away from some of the tank production to build mines is an interesting choice. Clearly feeling like he needs some additional help against Ling Bane, but he loses a mineral line. He has gone army supply lead. This has to be now or never from ByuN. He kills off a base that's just inconsequential because Solar has other bases to mine from, especially when ByuN is down to, well, again, just like, you know, one mineral line of economy, 24 SCVs. The Baneling's getting targeted down. ByuN targets the Banelings on the top side as well. He does very well for himself to start this out. He's up 30 army supply. Is there some way, somehow, a chance? The medevac and Marines getting blown up from the Widowmine fight. He could have really done without that if you're cheering on ByuN. Solar gathers up his queens, and I think he's stabilizing army supply-wise. It was definitely scarier than it maybe wanted to be for a few moments, but I think we're getting there. I think we're resetting. A couple libs on the bottom side, not finding any openings either, so they're not going to be able to chip away at that solar economy, although, again, at this point, you need a sledgehammer to the solar economy more than just chipping and chiseling at it with a lib here and a lib there. It comes through. The Ling Bane is going to be held back. This Bio just coming around the bottom side here. Hatchery taking a few shots at Baneling's in trouble once again, but not really able to do much of anything. Just going to be seeing this Hatchery going down, and, well, ByuN will hold on with, again, just the smallest amount of units possible. He is making this as difficult as he possibly can. As we do have ourselves still Bio collecting on the bottom side. Hatchery will set up. A few drones are going to pull in. Adrenal glands, muscular augments all setting up. A couple extra hydras are producing through as well. A Bio army comes back through the bottom side here, and 17 minutes on Babylon. It's been quite the game. It's been an excellent game, in fact. A little bit more Bio, find a little bit extra. Going to turn around for Baneling here. Now coming through, we're going to start getting a couple of these queens, so picking away at those as well. It's a parasitic bomb dead center on the medevacs, and again, stuff like the Vipers and so on are just, well, they're just deadly, right? At this sort of stage of the game, they're going to start getting chip damage. They're going to start picking away bits and pieces of the Terran that you just can't really afford to have happen. Force continues away to the left, and, well, ByuN sits behind about 50 supply. What's the resources lost look like? 26k to 18k. Obviously, this is an income graph that's been dominated by Solar throughout. We knew that ByuN was 2 base all in for a long time. He then lost the 3rd base he tried to replace or set up with. Now ByuN's trying to hang on in there with another 3rd that has taken position. And obviously a base to the left side as well. So he is actually still on 3 orbitals. He did rebuild a 3rd base, but he's also relocated the main to essentially get up to a 4 base setup here. Well, main base isn't mined anymore, but we'd still call this a 4 base because the main's pretty much mined out. For 19 minutes in this game. Kind of surprised with the hive up. We haven't seen the Lurker Den at the very least. Solar isn't super rich, I suppose. His economy isn't super crazy, but I really felt like he could have gotten away with at least trying to build a Lurker Den, right? I don't think there would have been any harm in that. He jumps up over here, and the Lingbane Hydra swarming forwards. He's getting rid of a lot of the Bio. He's getting rid of a lot of the mines, making sure they're not going to fire a second time at all. And that's going to be it. GG. Solar is going to take game number 3, and he's going to be up 2-1 in this best. Oh. Welcome back, guys, to the series. As in the bottom left, up 2-1. The red Zerg player is going to be Solar. Playing against the low ground 2 racks at the moment of the blue Terran. In the top right corner, ByuN goes down the game and needs to win this one to stay in the WardiTV Spring Championship playoffs. Currently here in the quarterfinals. Royal Blood, our current map of choice. Royal Blood has been one of the kind of go-to Zerg picks, but I wouldn't say Terrans are super upset about playing Royal Blood. It's generally just a, like I say, a pretty okay Terran map pool in general, and it's just able to naturally kind of be one where most Terrans are kind of okay with anything apart from Altitude and Ancient. The other 5 maps they're pretty happy about, so generally says that it's a little Terran favored matchup or map pool wise as our first Reaper shows up, and we'll start to try and find some damage. Plenty of Lings. The Solar tries to deal with this. Double Reaper poking and prodding around. Now going to try and take out a Queen. Only 2 Reapers, by the way, which is such a non-commitment. Not even a 3rd Reaper, right? Is like, oh wow, you're really switching into the rest of this bio very quickly, so... Yeah, pretty funky opening from ByuN. I believe he did this yesterday in GSL against Ragnarok as well, where he only went 2 Reapers. Instead of, like, say, the typical 3 that you're usually expecting to see. Again, just gives you a very, very quick follow-up, basically. These guys chatting a little bit about what is going on. 2 Reapers making their way up the right-hand side, starting to progress out in that direction. And you see our refinery coming up on the natural. Impact combat. All the Marines continue to build for the moment. Marines combat Stimpack. Reducing through. Obviously, again, once that Terran upgrades finish up, you're generally going to find yourself in a nice, strong position here as the Terran are good timing available to you. This is off of 3 racks. It's going to be a lot of units. With a couple of Reapers that have applied a bit of pressure to Solar early, obviously forcing them to make, you know, a few more lings than usual. And that's the difficulty, right? You're almost always gambling. Because you never really, truly know what's going on. You know, you never know. Is it just 2 Reapers? Is there going to be more? Is there a 3rd racks behind it? Like, these are all questions you're constantly guessing at and asking. It's so hard to find the answers to. And that's why Solar may, you know, see some trouble here. Because this is just the sort of attack that now you're not 100% sure how it's going. You're not 100% sure how ByuN got here. Let's see what happens as our few queens still gathering up and down on the bottom side. A lot of lings producing. Baneling Nest is about to finish up as well. Our few Marines are going to start pressing forward. Just going to jump on towards the initial queen here. So first queen starts to take a few shots of damage. The Zerglings start running through too. Second queen, 3rd queen going down as well. The rest of these lings are getting picked up on. Solid defense, and I think that's the most important part of this, the fact that we just find a defense in general. Because I don't think that's necessarily a guarantee at the starting point of all this. Yeah. Holds off. Marines pull back. And our Overlords, Queens, Banes all gathering up toward the center as well to try and just see what we can do. Sola's early game is so damn good. It has to be, though, right? Against ByuN. When ByuN plays these aggressive attacks and everything, it's so hard. So, yeah, it is good. It absolutely has to be. So, Sola doing what he needs to for the moment. Plus one attack upgrade coming through on that engineering bay as ByuN. Again, 5 racks, 2 bases, wants to stick to what he's been doing in the previous games. And just live and die by that as we have ourselves the Baneling Speed Star and the Carapace upgrade too. These are going to be helpful additions for Solar, of course. Queens continuing over, the Fuelings joined up with all these queens. Trying to see what exactly we can do. A couple of Medivacs trying to drop off in the corner as well. They're going to be forced to lift back up though. Sport and the Queen together will make sure to push those Medivacs away for a moment. Drop in the main base. I'm going to target fire a bunch of the Banelings down, gets every single one of them trying to run in at the back. It's almost like you shouldn't have brought them into range, right? It's so funny. It feels like your Banelings just work against you. Like, they cost you money and they don't do anything in those scenarios. It's rough, man. Marines continue up. Hatchery taking some damage. Tanks are firing from afar. Queen's taking some hits. Continuing through. A couple of Banelings get cancelled. There's a couple more Banes coming in. We target both of those. The Lings now trying to get a little bit more of a wraparound. The extra Marines showing up. Is it enough? The Banes get there. They clean up. A couple of tanks are very far back. Not really part of any portion of this fight so far. Definitely having an impact as ByuN sits on the edge. And now he's going to start getting surrounded. Reinforcements aren't here yet.
these two Banes. Even if they go off next to the siege tank, at least they're getting some damage onto that, helping to clean it up. That is the case here as we stem on forward, looking for a couple of these queens as well. One goes down, the other is low. Next queen going to go down also, as we do have ourselves the playing Bane of Solar still pulling back just a little bit here for the moment. Now the Lings are cutting off reinforcements too. They try and come in from the other side, decide it's not worth it. Replacement hatchery also coming up here from Solar if that gets online. And he has somewhere to send these workers to as well. Also a benefit. Marines unloading. Hatchery will start to take some damage. Medevac just escapes over to the corner. Tank will siege. Gonna target down these Banelings once again. You know that that's gonna happen from ByuN, but I think Solar's just gotten good enough grasp on this, guys. He's not letting this game get out of hand. He's not letting ByuN get away with anything. I really think he's got this game absolutely on lockdown. ByuN does crazy things with these continued pushes, but I think this really is just Solar has too much, man. Like, he has figured this out. As ByuN tries to get to that third CC, we talked about this in the last game, the idea of it's a safety net. In this case, he's not on the verge of, like, breaking down the game or anything, though, right? He's not on the verge of greatness or anything, either. So that's not exactly ideal at all, as Marine Tank continues forward once more. Well, scanning the stim comes through. It's going to be seen how Ling's trying to get here. Marines will load back up into the medevacs. Two medevacs on the right side going to get pushed away. Here comes the rest of the Ling Bane coming forward. Tank on the Banelings? Nope. ByuN supply is really just kind of dribbling down, right? It's just not enough. It's not staying up and consistent. It's not doing what it needs to. Marines on the main base here going to go after a few more bits and pieces. The Spore Crawl is going to go down. I really feel like we are having ByuN. I mean, he's finding little openings still, but these medevacs are also drained of energy. The units are drained of HP. These are all issues on top of everything else at the moment. The Hydra Den halfway done. From Solar, the +2 carapace coming up. More Marines, more tanks, all joining up at the front. The command center is morphing into the orbital. Something that ByuN's really not been able to utilize yet, but obviously we have some hopes for him, maybe being able to do something with it. Solar crashes forward one more time. These Marines, and do just like they're in trouble here. A couple of Banelings going down as well. The upgrades on the way in. Marines going to come diving for these queens now. Moving straight through into this. Just going to be seeing the Lings, the Banes continue by. The tank gets lifted. The other tank, okay, gets lifted as well. As our Lings do just sit in that surround, and again, Solar supply is still just getting further and further ahead. First it was like 20, then it was 40, now it's 80 plus. Counterattack that ByuN just cannot deal with in any way, shape, or form. And we are seeing the dying moments, I think, of ByuN in this tournament. Quarterfinals is going to be his maximum. And that's going to be GG. Solar takes it 3-1. Convincing stuff into the semifinals. He goes